Cutting Characteristics of Thin-Bladed Knives, William Hovey Smith, 2017. I'm the author of Backyard Deer Hunting and also the owner of a new company, Hovey's Knives of China. Under our Billy Joe Rubidoux line, we are taking a bunch of much abused ordinary kitchen knives and we are studying them in order to convert them to something that's actually more useful than they were when they were originally designed. This is Hovey Smith, the Backyard Sportsman. In front of me here are 5 knives that I've recently purchased. They are quite different. The only thing they have in common is they were used. And I intend to rebuild these knives. This one was made in Japan, has a stainless steel blade, a wooden handle, and has been sharpened to the extent that it's gotten sway-bellied here. You can see where it's been stroked many, many times with a steel and it's lost much of its original finish up in here, near the bevel of the blade. This one was hardly used at all. It too is marked made in Japan. It's very thin. And what it was used for was abuse. It was used as a screwdriver and it failed. It was used as a pry bar and it failed. And it's got many little waves here in the end of the blade. And that one's about almost beyond the pale. Now this knife looks cruddy as blazes and is a fleshing knife, and it was obviously salvaged from a deer camp somewhere and was just left out after it had cleaned its last deer carcass. And wow, the knife is sound, just dirty, for want of a better word. The most pristine knife of the lot, this is a frozen food knife. This would also serve as a bread knife if you were doing fairly narrow loaves of bread, but is a little short for a full-size loaf. But for breaking apart and sawing up frozen food, yeah, I think that's what this knife was designed to do, except it has such a skinny handle. The handle is extremely uncomfortable. It's sharp pointed at the rear, and if you really had to saw on something, it would really hurt the palm of the hand. So the handle needs to be enlarged and smoothed on this knife, although the blade, for what it was meant to do, is fine. This is a chef's knife. Now, this is by Hinkle, and Hinkle makes good knives. This is called the Hinkle's International Ever-Edge Stainless, made in Japan. Well, Hinkle happens to be a German company. Do they have a factory in Japan that makes these knives? Well, maybe they do, maybe they don't. But at any rate, that's what it says. Now, this blade is a serrated blade. It is very fine and very sharp, and every edge would seem to indicate that, yeah, this is something you can use and never need sharpening. Well, there was never any such knife, by the way. But this is a chef's knife and a chef knife's design. And what we're going to do with it is we're going to remake this handle for a very small cook, so she can have a knife that more nearly fits her hand. So that's what we're going to do with this. So she can have a full-size chef's knife, but it'll just fit her much better. The exercise is going to be to take this pile of vegetables and cut them up with these knives. We have completed the slicing test on our knives. What we found out was that this one was thicker bladed. The saw edge, yes, it really sawed and it slowed you down. You really did not want this edge for much of anything. It just didn't work well. This, the strongest knife, the best designed knife, but also the dullest, and a thick blade. This almost refused to cut. A lot of force there to try to cut through. The chef's knife here, with this finely serrated blade here, would cut. But the serrations took a lot of energy to make that individual cut. The cut was straight, parallel, precision, a lot of energy. This knife, worn, many times sharpened, irregular blade, actually was one of the better cutters. The thinness of the blade helps the cut. This blade, worn, unsharp, irregular as it is, cut better than the chef's knife. Then we have this little beastie here with its irregular blade with many warps and twisted point. What it demonstrated was that this blade cut with much less energy, despite the tortured nature of the blade itself, than any of the other knives. However, when it came to cutting the strong stalks on this, the chef knife with its serrations cut better than any of the others. So, thin knives take less force to operate. They do. Even if the blade is very, very irregular indeed. It's easy to get so involved with the minutiae of making knives that one tends to forget that the end product is food. And that's what we're after producing. At Hobie's Knives of China and in the Billy Joe Rubidoux line, what our objective is to give cooks knives they can use that actually fit them. That's why we're going to take a knife like this and put another edge on it, repolish the blade, thin the handle, and make it for a smaller framed cook. Similarly, we're going to do the same thing with this knife. It's been much abused and dirty, and it's going to be an interesting challenge to regrind this handle material. Organics don't grind well as a rule. You have to grind them very, very slow speed, otherwise they gum up the belts very, very badly and are extremely difficult to work. But nonetheless, we're going to give this one a try. This blade has its own challenges. First off, it is extremely thin, and it is too long for its thinness. This blade material is actually better suited for a smaller knife, that is a knife with less blade length. And we're going to have to remove a lot of blade to get rid of a lot of the flaws that we just can do nothing with outside of reforging the blade, which we're not going to do. On this one, yeah, the concept is good for a frozen food knife, it just needs a bigger grip. On this one, the chef's knife, we found this edge serrated as it is really not too desirable. unless you're cutting stuff that's half frozen. For that use, it's fine. The blade is stiff enough, it's good steel, but the edge, which is the chief feature of this knife, just takes too much energy to use because it's so rough. The serrations that give it the cutting ability also take a lot more energy to work. And so we're going to actually regrind this. We're going to put a secondary edge on it here and get rid of these serrations and put a good smooth sharp edge on it so it'll be usable again. And again, regrind this handle for a smaller hand. So all of these are going to be interesting endeavors that we're going to take up in future videos. But now, this is Hovey Smith, reminding you to hunt what you eat and eat what you hunt. Be legal, be ethical, be safe, goodbye, God bless, and see you next time. This is our now officially registered trademark in the U.S. And here are some of our new designs from Hovey's Knives of China that are based on ancient patterns. Among my books are backyard deer hunting, practical bow fishing, crossbow hunting, and extreme muzzleloading. And all of these contain chapters on knives pertaining to their particular uses. Now, not everyone can afford the prices I need to get for my original Hovey's Knives of China designs. However, these rebuilds under the Billy Joe Rubidoux brand are much more affordable. For more information on Hovey's Knives of China, you can go to the blog below. For information on my books, blogs, and more than 600 videos, you can go to www.hoveysmith.com. Good hunting and good eating from the outdoors. Goodbye, and God bless.